Now, on question 2 of November 2017, let's start with question 2.1. 2.1.1. It is we have to solve the inequality. 2.1.1, solve the inequality. We are having 4 minus 2x is less than 16. So the first step, let's transpose 4, subtract 4 from both sides. We get minus 2x will be less than 16. Minus 4 is 12. Then what do we do? To solve for x now, divide both sides by negative 2. Then our x will now be what? Greater than. Remember, division or multiplication by a negative number, the inequality direction changes. We had less than, now it is greater than. 12 divided by negative 2, it is negative 6. And then 2.1.2, they say hence represent your answer to question 2.1.1 on a number line. So we've been doing this one. So we'll have our number line x, and then what is our solution? X greater than negative 6. So on our number line we'll have negative 6. Now the solution says what? X is greater than negative 6. Then negative 6, open circle at the top. Then greater than means what? We want all the values that are to the right of negative 6. Therefore, we draw a line that is pointing to the right. This will be our solution represented on a number line. And our circle here will be what? Open, because the solution is not included. It is just greater than. Then let us add our own 2.1.3 by saying what? We must now what? Represent the solution in 2.1.1 in interval. Represent the solution as in the using the interval notation. We did that in the previous two questions. So our variable x, element of from to, remember from to, so is from where? Is from negative 6 to positive infinity. From negative 6 to positive infinity. Now the side of negative 6, is it open bracket or closed bracket? We go to the inequality. It is just greater than. Therefore, it will be open bracket, meaning what? Not included. Then on the side of infinity, it also be what? Open bracket. We said whenever we are having what? Infinity, on the side of infinity, it will always be open bracket, as we cannot include what? We don't know. We don't know what is up to infinity. Right. Then let's move on to 2.2. 2.2.1. We have to solve the two equations simultaneously. We are having minus 2x minus y is equals to 10. We will label it our equation 1, and we have 3x minus 4y is equals to negative 4, and we will label this our equation 2. Now, solving a linear equation simultaneously, we can do it in two ways, either by elimination or substitution. So with this question, the easier way, it will be to use the method of what? Of substitution, because elimination will mean what? We'll have to multiply a certain equation by a certain number, so that when we add or subtract, we'll be able to eliminate either x or y. So let's take the method of what? Of substitution, and between the two equations, equation 1 and equation 2, the simpler equation is equation 1, because the coefficient of y in this equation is just -1. And then here the coefficient of y is -4, here the coefficient of x is 3. But with this one, the coefficient of x is -2. So we want where the coefficient of either x or y can be either +1 or -1. Then we say that will be what? The simpler equation to manipulate. So let us now take which equation? Equation 1. Ne? So we are saying from equation 1, let us make y the subject of the formula. We say minus 2x minus 10 is equals to y. Then we get not 2, but rather what? We now label this our equation 3. But it's very important that to remember that this equation 3 is coming from what? From equation 1. So that now when you move on, where you substitute, now you are seeing what? You now substitute equation 3 into which equation? Equation number 2. Not the equation where y comes from. This is minus 10 is equals to y. Not the equation where this equation comes from. Equation 3 comes from. It comes from by what? Manipulating equation 1. So we substitute equation 3 into the other equation, which is equation number 2. Meaning, where we see y in equation number 2, we substitute what? Minus 2x minus 10. So let's go to equation number 2. 3x minus 4 minus 4y. But where we see y, we are now going to substitute minus 2x minus 10. And then is equals to -4. Then we solve for x. 3x, multiply out the bracket, -4 times -2x, 8x, -4 times -10 will be +40 is equals to -4. Then on the left hand side, collect the like terms, 3x plus 8x, 11x. And then transpose 40 will be equals to -4 minus 40 will be equals to -44. Then divide both sides by 11. Then we get our x being equals to a -4. X will be equals to -4. And then from there, now we need to find the value of y. Now we say substitute x is equals to -4 into which equation? Any of the equations, but take the simpler one. The simpler equation will be equation number 3, where y is already the subject of the formula. So we are now seeing what? Y is equals to -2x minus 10. In place of x, what do we substitute? -4. And then we have minus 10. Then our y will be equals to -2 times -4, 8. And then 8 minus 10 will be -2. So this will be our solution for question 2.2. Just 2.2, not 2.2.1. All right, then 2.3. 2.3.1, solve for x. 2.3.1, x multiplied by x minus 5 all divided by 6 minus 1 is equals to 0. So the first step, let us get rid of what? This 6 in there. The 6 in the denominator by multiplying throughout by 6, meaning you multiply each term by 6. Then the first term, x multiplied by x minus 5 all divided by 6 multiplied by 6 will just be x times x minus 5. 6 will cancel 6. Minus 1 times 6 minus 6 is equals to 0 multiplied by 6 is 0. And then from there, multiply out the bracket, x times x, x squared, x times minus 5, minus 5x, and we have minus 6 equals to 0. And now we are having our quadratic equation in standard form, where the coefficient of x squared is positive 1. So it is also easier to do this one by what? By inspection, even though you can just do it what? Step by step. So we have x, the sign of the last number is negative, so inside the brackets we're going to have different signs. And then now we want what? The factors of 6, such that when we add or subtract them, will give us what? Will give us the middle term. Then that will be what? Negative 6 and 1. Minus 6 plus 1 will give us minus 5. And minus 6 times 1 will give us negative 6. So 6 will come this side, and then 1 will come this side. And then from there, equate each factor to 0, or x minus 6 equals to 0. Solve for x. X will equals to negative 1, or x will be equals to positive 6. Now, I think we've been doing a number of equations where you find that when you factorize the quadratic trinomial, you find that the last term is always what? Negative. Ne? So let's say we have this question A, ne? Equation A, the quadratic x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equals to 0. Solve for x. So what will be the factors? So here we'll be having what? X. We'll be having x, but now you see the sign on the last term is what? Is positive. It means what? Inside the brackets we are going to have what? The same sign. But which sign? The sign of the middle number. The sign of the middle number is what? A negative. Therefore, negative, negative. And then what are the factors of 6? Such that when we subtract, we are going to get what? Minus 5 will be what? 3 and 2. 3, 2. Then equals to 0. Then equate each factor to 0. X minus 3 equals to 0, or x minus 2 equals to 0. Then x will be equals to 3, or x will be equals to 2. So when the last term, the sign of the last term is positive, it means what? Inside the brackets we are going to have what? The same sign. But which sign? The sign of the middle term. If the middle term was positive, inside the brackets we are going to have what? Positive signs. Alright, let's move on with question 2.3.2. we are having c is equals to the square root of a plus 2x. We are solving for x. So how do we get rid of the square root? We get rid of square root by what? By squaring. Therefore, what we do on the left hand side, we must also do on the right hand side. Square both sides. C squared will be c squared is equals to, then the square root of a plus 2x all squared will just be what? Left with the terms inside the bracket. A plus 2x. And then from there, subtract a from both sides. 6 squared minus a will be equals to 2x. And then from there, divide both sides by 2. And then now we'll be having what? We'll now be having c squared minus a divided by 2 is equals to x. Therefore, this means what? Our x will be equals to c squared minus a all divided by 2. So, for us to be able to move from this point to this point, this is what happened. Let's take an example. Let's take an example where we are saying find, we're having what, the square root of, let's say the square root of x, and then we are what, we are squaring it. Square the square root of x. This will be equals to what? The square root of x, we can rewrite it what, as an exponent. Square root of x is the same as x to power half, all to the power of 2. And then what do we know about when we are having x to power maybe a to power x to the power of y? We multiply the what, the exponents. Therefore this will be x to power half multiplied by 2 will be what, 1. So we'll just be left with what, with x. So that is what, a step-by-step process that we have done here. But you don't have to show all the steps. Just understand that when you square a square root, you will be left with what, with whatever that is inside the square root. In this case, it is what, a plus 2x.